Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going over the grand final, which obviously took place yesterday. In my opinion, it probably was the best grand final I've ever watched. I've been watching the game since 2015. I also watched the 2014 grand final. There's been too many close ones in that time that I've been watching. Like 2014 was 10 goals, 2015 was about 50 points, 2016, that was the first close-ish one. 22 points, it was closer than that for most of the game. That wasn't a fun one for me to watch, being a Swans fan. And then, yeah, 2017 was 8 goals. 2018 was the other one that went down to the wire. That was a 5-point game. Yeah, it was 5 points, that's right. Yeah, obviously Collingwood lost that one. But yeah, then in the years following that, they were all pretty much all blowouts. So yeah, it was nice to get a close grand final this time around. I suppose with Collingwood being in the grand final, that was almost guaranteed. Yeah, it was just so entertaining. It was close the whole way through. Like there wasn't ever a period where either team got out to a big lead and then one of them had to draw back in. Like in 2018, Collingwood kicked the first 5 goals, and then West Coast clawed their way back slowly throughout the game. But this game was close the whole way through. Like look at the score worm, you could see the biggest margin was I believe 13 points, which is quite incredible. How many lead changes were there? There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lead changes in a grand final. That's yeah, incredible. And it wasn't too scrappy or low scoring either. Like quite often, close grand finals are quite low scoring. Think of 2005, which was yeah 54 to 58 if my memory serves me correctly. That was yeah one of the closest grand finals, but it was also super low scoring, a defensive scrappy game. This one wasn't that, particularly the second quarter. There were 11 goals scored in the second quarter, and some of the best goals you'll ever see in that second quarter. Like Charlie Cameron snapped one around to start things off on his left, and he kicked another one later on, getting out the back. And you had Lincoln McCarthy slotting one from the boundary in the first quarter. Zach Bailey kicked a couple of absolute ripping goals. Bobby Hill, I remember, leveled the scores with that specky and then the set shot. There was some incredible highlights from both teams. I really thought Brisbane were going to run away with the game in that second quarter, or at least get themselves out to a fair lead before Collingwood would have to claw their way back into the game. Let's just let's just go over my memories from the game and talk about what I was thinking as the yeah everything unfolded. So yeah, the game, well, it started off. Collingwood looked pretty dominant early. Nick Dacos kicked that first goal. Then moments later, Bobby Hill kicked his first of 4. Brisbane just looked sloppy. I mean, Collingwood looked a little bit sloppy as well. Looked like they were still, really settling into the game, but Brisbane more so. They had a couple of really bad turnovers. The ball seemed to be locked in Collingwood's front half, and they kicked the first couple of goals. And I thought that if they kicked one more goal, that could have been nearly game over right then and there. I just think that they would have been too swept up in the crowd. Brisbane would just be doubting themselves already. I mean, they'd already been belted a few times in finals before, so I really did think that if one more goal went the way of Collingwood, then it would have been shut the gates, game over. Collingwood are going to run away to a massive win. But luckily, some Zach Bailey brilliance got them the goal. The first goal they desperately needed. yeah, it was a cracking goal. Just I don't know how he found that much space out the side of the stoppage. He just managed to break away from his opponent, whoever that was at the time. I'm not quite sure. And I mean, once he got the ball in hand, he was running inside forward 50. I pretty much knew straight away what was going to happen. That was going to go straight through the big sticks. And then they kicked a couple more. Zach Bailey kicked another absolutely brilliant goal. Even better than the first. Smothered the Mason Cox kick and then got it back, weaved his way around the boundary line, and a couple Collingwood players then snapped it. That was an absurd goal, that was, looking back. At the time, I didn't realise how good it was, but then I looked at it on replay, just, yeah, the work rate and effort that would have gone into kicking that goal. Yeah, it's insane. Then there was a bit of a scuffle. It looked like Brisbane really had the game on their terms, and then in the last couple of minutes, they obviously didn't want to take too many risks, so they played a bit more defensive. But they just went too defensive, I think. They weren't making any attempt to move the ball forward at all. And eventually they just tried to bite off something that wasn't there to get it moving forward. And yeah, they opened the door for Collingwood to kick a couple late, which yeah, they really shouldn't have given them the chance. Because like I said, yeah, they just played way too defensive. Like, it's all good to be defensive in that last couple minutes of a quarter, but you still got to try something. At the end of the day, it's only the first quarter. Like, there was still, yeah, a couple minutes to go. Maybe if there's like only 30 seconds, they're holding up like the 30-second sign, then maybe. But when there's still a couple minutes to go, you still got to try and take some risks. So yeah, Collingwood had the buffer at quarter time, but then Charlie Cameron got the Brisbane crowd fired up with the goal 30 seconds into the second quarter. And then the first half of that second quarter, Brisbane dominated. I thought, well, it felt a lot like the Carlton game, how once they sort of got going after they conceded the first 5 goals, but then once Hipwood kicked that first goal in the prelim, they just looked unstoppable. Like, they got their confidence back, and they just looked like they were too classy for Carlton. And it looked like the same thing against Collingwood. But Collingwood found their way back into the game. Jack Chris slotted a nice goal. Then Bobby Hill took a specky, leveled the scores, and then they were back in it. Bobby Hill kicked another goal. At this point, he looks unstoppable. 4 goals and a half of footy in a grand final is insane. But yeah, then Chris kicked another goal at halftime. The momentum was going with the Pies into the second half. And at this point, I thought that well, I'm not sure what I was thinking actually. I think I probably thought that I was getting a bit worried. I remember actually that Collingwood with that goal on halftime would really ride the momentum into the third quarter and start to run away with the game. That didn't end up happening because Brisbane they found their way back in the game and took the lead with the second goal of the third quarter, which was quite a scrappy quarter in contrast to the 11 goals scored in the second quarter. But oh yeah, I remember that Devon Robertson goal. I thought he had that smothered by Howe as a very risky kick, which yeah. And then they kicked another goal late in the quarter, found themselves back in front, which they always seem to do. Like, they kicked a goal on the siren in the first quarter, same in the second quarter, and then late in the third quarter they put themselves back in front. Bobby Hill unselfishly gave one off to Pendlebury. Then in the last quarter we were set up for an absolute thrilling finish. No one could buy a goal for a while. Yeah, the margin remained at 4 points all throughout the first 3 quarters of the final term. I just thought it looked like Collingwood were gonna just yeah, I remember the ball was locked inside Collingwood's forward 50, and it just looked like the damn wall was about to break open. But then with 5 minutes to go, Charlie Cameron put one through, Brisbane back in front. But I remember having a feeling at that point that it was almost too soon to kick a goal that put them back in front, because I just knew somehow Collingwood were gonna just surge it forward and almost instantaneously get one back, and that's exactly what they did through De Goey. And then Jared Berry gave away a silly 50-metre penalty, the second 50 that he gave away, which gave Collingwood the goal and put them up by 10 points. At that point, I think there was still 3 minutes to go on the clock, but I thought there's just no way Brisbane are going to find a way to win this. But then when they kicked the last goal through Danaher, that Hugh McCluggage play was massive. I don't know how he managed to find that to Danaher. And I thought Danaher might miss, but no. He got his third of the match, and none more important than that third goal he kicked. And then we were set up for a thrilling last minute and a half of footy. Brisbane surged it forward, got a free kick. Advantage, they paid advantage to it, despite you'd think Zach Bailey not actually knowing what was going on, not hearing the free kick. He kicked it over his head and it just went to a pack and Collingwood hacked it out. No idea how that was paid advantage. It definitely shouldn't have been paid advantage. I don't think I've seen anyone say it should have been paid advantage. Even Collingwood fans agree that no, that was not advantage. So yeah, a very costly call that one was. And I was like, I was shocked and a bit angry, because I wanted to see, because that would have given Brisbane a real shot at winning the game, because they would have been able to kick it long inside forward 50. You know, they would have had Danaher and Hipwood there going up for a mark, and if they didn't take a mark, then you'd hope would have at least brought it to ground, where Charlie Cameron or Zach Bailey or someone could have, or Lincoln McCarthy could have snapped it, had a shot on goal, or at the very least they could have locked it up and forced the stoppage inside 50 and had another crack. So yeah, that call ended up being very costly. We'll never know what would have happened now if that wasn't paid advantage and it was taken back to Lachie Neale, because he is a very good ball user, Lachie Neale. But yeah, despite that, I still think Collingwood were the deserving winners. They had 30 scoring shots, which was about 9 or 10 more than Brisbane. So they were the better team all day, Collingwood. I believe that, yeah, they deserved to win. There were a couple other free kicks that went against Collingwood, which were a little bit dodgy, so, they go both ways. And at the end of the day, I'm just glad that we got a thrilling grand final. Bobby Hill, the Norm Smith medalist, none more deserving on the day than him. 4 goals, 18 disposals, had that 1 goal assist to Pendlebury, and just did so many other things that, yeah, it was a really great time to have his career best performance, because it was a career best performance by far. Kadeem Coleman was very good in the first half, didn't really do much in the second. Hugh McCluggage, Joe Danaher were massive for Brisbane. Likewise, Jack Crisp was massive for Collingwood, so was Pendlebury. De Goey only had about 17 disposals, I think, but 18 disposals. But those 2 goals were very crucial. Came at very crucial times, both of them. Some other... Charlie Cameron, 7 disposals, but from those 7 disposals, 3 goals. He's always been a great finals player. Kicked a few bags in finals. Remember in the prelim final, back when he played for the Crows, kicked 5. A couple years ago for Brisbane, he kicked another bag of 5 in a qualifying final. So yeah, Nick Dacos was brilliant as always for Collingwood. No surprises there. Yeah, there was brilliant performances all round from both teams. Brilliant goals, brilliant highlights. Yeah, the grand final had everything. And overall, I think Collingwood, yeah, they were the best team all year. Um, they were the most exciting team all year, and everything just seemed to fall into place for them. And overall, it was their year. No team deserved the premiership more than Collingwood. But yeah, that'll bring to a close the AFL season for 2023. Now we move on to the trade period, and then the draft, and then the off season. So as for my channel, I will be covering the trade period as I did so last year. School holidays for me now, so for the next couple of weeks, might be pumping out a bit of content related to the trade period. Um, and also, haven't promoted it in a while. I have a second channel where I do gaming content. That channel is a bit dead at the moment. Not much action happening other than the occasional stream where I play God of War. I'll be playing probably not every day. I won't be doing daily streams, but maybe every second or third day. I reckon I'll be streaming for the next couple of weeks, playing through God of War Ragnarok on that channel. So I'm going to link that in the description and in a pinned comment under this video, also in a community post. And I'll be streaming right after this video goes up for maybe a couple hours or something like that. So be sure to hop along that. But yeah, that'll be pretty much it for this video. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.